Alright gamers, and especially Nintendo fans, let's take a look at Super Mario Odyssey on Nintendo Switch. Alright, now we're talking. Yep, as you know, I included this on my top 10 best video game lists of 2017. Not just at any spot, but at number 2 spot, right behind Breath of the Wild. And you know how great of a game that was, and, well, this one is no exception either. So, want to know why this game is so great? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Let's go! Of course, as you know, this game is obviously a Nintendo Switch exclusive, so sorry Wii U fans, you're going to be left in the dust here. I mean, come on, you had Super Mario 3D World. The Wii had Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. The GameCube had Super Mario Sunshine, which is a hard-as-hell game, even though, despite a couple of gimmicky concepts, and it may not be the best, but it was still hard as hell. And it was still fun. And, of course, the N64 had Mario 64. Okay, now I'm getting off track here. Anyway, this game does for this console like those games did for those Nintendo consoles. It's a superb adventure game and a prime example of why the old fat Italian plumber is still at his finest in an action-adventure genre. Now, first of all, plot, and I do use the term plot loosely. It's nothing really out of the ordinary. Princess Peach gets kidnapped by King Koopa himself, and you have to go rescue her. But this isn't just any type of kidnapping out of the ordinary. This time around, King Koopa is ready to wed Princess Peach. And Princess Peach is, well, not exactly about to commit herself to such a big step in life. So, yep. As you know, Mario's got to stop that wedding from happening, and this is where the adventure begins. Which pretty much starts out with King Koopa himself knocking you out of his sight and into an unknown world. May seem very familiar if you played Super Mario Galaxy, but let me assure you, it's not in space, obviously. And just like that game, you'll get acquainted with your weapon of usage, Cappy. Yes, this is basically your item of usage, like the water thing is in Super Mario Sunshine, and, well, more like the spin move thing in Super Mario Galaxy, because it's not as gimmicky of a concept. Then some people might have complained about it, having to use it way too much in this game. I really don't mind it, to say the least. Yeah, it can become annoying, you know. Sometimes you just want to take care of the enemies yourself and not have the Cappy character take care of them for you. In which you can, obviously, depending on which enemies they are, you know, like the Goombas and stuff, you can just simply jump on them. But then there's times like these where some things you have to rip out of the ground, or spiked enemies, which you really have no choice but to use the hack. But most importantly, it takes control of certain enemies, or animals, or objects. Anything that you throw Cappy onto, well, Mario takes command and mind controls it. It opens up a lot of cool ideas for this kind of thing, and, well, yeah, that's awesome. So, this is the first level, and it's a typical tutorial stage, where you're introduced to, not the 7 Koopa kids, instead a bunch of rabbit bosses. Yeah, this is basically the game's Koopalings, and yes, I also find it funny how there's also another Mario game called Mario Rabbids. But let's not get too off track here. Yes, these are basically the 7 Koopalings, and this one is not difficult at all. He wears 3 hats, which you have to knock off, dodge, and of course step on his bare head. Twice to be exact. Yeah, it's that simple, really. And he's down. And you take control of electricity, head of all things, sweet. Like Metallica, you ride the lightning. Then you get the intro screen. Pretty cool. So this place is basically like a prehistoric world, you know, like a caveman type of place. You know, with waterfalls, and not to mention a big-ass T-Rex to take control of. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Being able to rampage through everything. And okay, I might as well go through each level, and who or what you can have Cappy take control of. So, yeah. The previous tutorial stage that I just showed you, you obviously take control of a frog, which helps you hop higher and higher. And is probably the only one that can actually survive in water, because yeah, I should mention, most of these abilities have water kryptonite for some reason. Except this one. Well, and a few others. And as I mentioned before in this level, you can take control of the T-Rex, which can help ram through walls, but only for a short time unfortunately. But hey, you can retake control of them as many times as you want. But most importantly, the first ones you come across are these chomp guys. Yes, those classic little dog-like things. Take control of them. And yes, they could be a little tricky to figure out because you obviously have to hold the analog stick in the opposite direction of where you want them to face to wind them up. And there you go. He's obviously most useful for breaking through these blocks that, well, help you get through the level. Yeah, as I mentioned, there's plenty of hidden power moons. And of course collecting these gold coins, which I should mention, this is the first Mario game, at least that I remember, that doesn't use a life count. Every time you die, whether it's losing all your health, which, yeah, of course, like Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy and so forth, of course you get a health meter. And yes, you can even upgrade the meter up to 6, just like Mario Galaxy, more or less. Only difference is that, obviously, the first time, coins do not refill your health. I guess they figured that would be too easy. But every time you die, instead of losing the lives, you lose a certain amount of coins deducted. So make sure you stock up on a lot of gold coins. You also get these purple coins, which I should mention, help you buy stuff in these shops. Yes, each time you come across vendors, I should mention, there's usually one that sells stuff for gold coins, which most of the time this stuff is not as useful as the purple coin stuff, because, yeah, purple coins can be pretty scarce, and in each world they come in different forms, I should mention. So what better theme than caveman-style clothes to get past these locked doors? Well, okay, not in this level. But the rest of the levels, you're required to have the specific kind of clothing that's required to get past these locked doors. If you don't have those style clothes, both head and torso, well, you're not going to get past it to get that power moon. So yeah, I'll mention these as well as I go along in each world, but this world it's obviously caveman style clothes, and in each world I should also mention you go into this weird looking pipe which looks old school, and that's because it is an 8-bit NES throwback style of the old school Super Mario Brothers game where it all began. Yeah, gotta love these nostalgic throwbacks, and this is probably my most favorite part of the game. The only downside is if you're accustomed to this game's controls and everything like that and using Cappy, aside from losing pieces of your health which still applies to this, yeah, there's no Cappy, there's no power-ups or anything like that, it's just simply avoiding enemies and treacherous traps and platform jumping and so forth, all the challenges and frustration that you remember from the old school games, but hey, no school like the old school right here. And usually ends with getting a power moon and going back to the basic style of 3D gameplay. God, that's so cool though, right? In some of these levels you actually get more than one bosses. They're not rabbits of course, they're usually devices or something, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Because, yeah, in this stage it's obviously just one boss, and it's one of those rabbits, as I mentioned before. This time around, it's a female, and looks to be like a stereotypical type of heavyset woman, which of course has her pet, Chomp out of all things. Yeah, I guess it's a represented dog. And, what do? Obviously take control of the Chomp, and try to disobey her, and hit her right in the face by simply winding up, and yeah, hit that bitch in the face. Yeah! That's the third one, and she's down for the count, and, well, you can go on to the next world as soon as you gather up enough power moons to power up the Odyssey. Yes, this is basically why it's called Mario Odyssey, because this is your power ship right here to travel the world, not the galaxy, not to get confused with that game. And, well, you go on to the next world, and occasionally you'll come across a fork in the road, so that, yeah, keep in mind, people, and bear with me, this is in the order that I chose to go in. I know not everybody chose this order, so, yep, on to the next world, which is the desert region. Or, in my opinion, it's kind of a mix between the desert and Mexico for some reason like that. I mean, yeah, it looks like Mexican theme, doesn't it? With an inverted pyramid. Okay. And the things you can take control of in this stage are, well, these electric things that you got a sneak peek at, of course, in the beginning of the game or at the intro screen. Yep, you can ride the electricity right across. And you can jump out anytime you want. Yeah, to be able to exit these things, obviously you press the top right or left button right here. You can even take control of latitude here. Not really much point to it unless you're like fishing for, well, what appears to be nothing. Even a freaking cactus. Yeah, they move and hop really slowly, but once you get farther away enough and, well, you get a power moon. Okay, that's pretty useful, but this is probably the only time I remember taking control of one of these damn things. Take control, of course, of the bullet bills. Wow, that's pretty cool. Helps you get across the gaps and everything like that, but of course you have a limited amount of time you can keep this guy until he blows up. Yeah, you'll know, of course, once he starts turning red. Also, watch any walls, obstructions, and other bullet bills and enemies and so forth, because that can knock you right out instantly. And I should also mention this, there are motion controls in this game for most of these Cappy abilities. And, well, it's not required, but it definitely does help make things easier. Not to mention, it helps when you grab onto a pole and you're climbing up. Yep, just shake the Joy-Cons and it helps you go up a lot faster. There's also motion controls for different moves in throwing your cap, like throwing it down, forward, up, and even just twirling it around like that. Not to mention you can also roll on the ground. Oops, well, I should have been careful there. And with bullet bills and anything else usually helps you speed up a lot quicker. You can just easily do it just by pressing the Y button or anything on your controller pad. So in other words, they're not required, but they do make things a lot easier and quicker. So yes, bullet bills helps you not only get across gaps, but also helps you break blocks. Again, another one that helps you break blocks open. But you also have to be careful on certain occasions not to get hit by another bullet bill, because even though you're taking control of an enemy, you could still lose health, I should have mentioned before. And when you get further on, you also take control of these stone-looking guys with the sunglasses on. They help you get across these invisible gaps by being able to see them if they have the sunglasses on. Only difference is that when you have them on, you move a lot slower. So yeah, you do want to switch back and forth between the sunglasses and, well, take them off so you can move quicker. But you gotta be careful of this purple stuff because, well, it's deadly to the touch, obviously. Yeah, there's plenty of challenges in this level, platform jumping, setting these things off, and you do have to be careful, but they help break the blocks open. You hurt sheep, buy Mexican-themed clothes to get past this locked door, yep, because it looks like Mexico, as I mentioned before. Do bonus games like following these musical notes, yep, I should mention this makes a return, and it's just about in every world in this game. Taxi around this cheetah-looking thing, which I have to admit is rather tricky to control because maybe it just goes a little too fast. Yeah, it's best to slow it down most of the time. Go inside the inverted pyramid as shown before, and take on some treacherous traps and fight against another rabbit boss. This one is a female, but not a heavyset one, of course. This one, of course, throws her explosive braids at you. So, what you gotta do, just hit them in a precise manner and make sure it lands right on her. Then jump on her, 3 times to be exact. And even when she's floating around as a freaking flying saucer, you can throw the things at her and knock her down. Yep. And she's down for the count. A little more challenging, but for my level of difficulty, not too hard. And then in this stage, obviously, you have a second boss, in which you go underground, and yeah, you notice everything's all frozen all over the place, so you gotta unfreeze things by going inside of this place. And you can take control of the Goombas, I should mention. Yeah. And this, of course, is not the only world where you can take control of these guys. There's several places where these guys make appearances. Their strength, of course, is that they can walk on ice a lot better than Mario. Yep, so stack a whole bunch on top of each other to get to higher, unreachable spots. Or in some levels, not in this one, of course, to get to a Lady Goomba. And she'll give you a power moon. Ah, thank you, that's really nice. Oh, wait on Mario. Get through all this, take control of another bullet bill, and you got this guy to deal with. Basically, you have to take control of his arms as soon as you can. Basically, it works the same way the bullet bill does. You just have to make sure these things don't get in your way. 3 times in the face, and down. Everything's all thawed out. We got enough power moons, on to the next world. Lakewater Kingdom. And this basically consists of all water right here. And, well, yeah, just like Mario 64, Galaxy, and so forth, you get the idea. If you stay underwater too long without getting the air bubbles, well, you're obviously going to lose health and eventually die. So what do? You take control of the Cheep Cheeps. Solves the breathing underwater problem right there. There's also these zipper things that Cappy can take control of. This obviously opens up walls, platforms, and passageways. Hell, there's even some hidden worlds that transport you either by rocket, obviously not in this world, going back to the previous stage, and there's several others, obviously, in other worlds, but they all seem to transport you to a location either in the sky or somewhere with some interesting obstacle courses. And some are actually kind of cool, like this one that lets you take control of a flying Goomba. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Some are crazy, like this one where you have to find a hidden land because it's all under cloud coverage. I mean, look at that. You're not going to know until you walk into it. And some of these, I mean, look at these moving platforms. God damn, this is insane. Then there's other hidden worlds that you get to by transporting through paintings. Nice nod to Mario 64 there. And luckily, there's no challenge or obstacle courses or anything like that, because as soon as you get there, Power Moon is waiting right there, but it transports you to a different world that you either been to or are about to go to. Yeah, some of these can be easy to find, and others can be, well, pretty tricky. I guess they figured, yeah, you went through all the trouble to find this hidden painting, Power Moon's all yours. Congratulations there. And yes, there is one in this world, and several others. And getting back to this world, yes, there's many other challenges as you expect, like collecting these mini Power Moons, collect 5 of them, similar to collecting the blue pieces of the Power Star in Mario Galaxy. And there you go, it's all yours. And what clothes you have to buy in this stage, just to access this locked door, the scuba diving gear. Does it help you breathe underwater? Does it help you swim better? No, it's just for looks. What else did you expect right there? But that's the only reason to get these purple coins. And, well, get through this one room. Come across a rabbit boss. This time around it's a male, surprisingly, and he throws his hat, which you have to basically use as a spin jumping tool to be able to bounce on top of him. And then dodges other moves, which can drain your health. You don't want that to happen. 3 times and he's down. On to the next world, which is Tall Woods. Almost kind of reminds me of the wood stage in Pac-Man World 2. Let's not get too off topic here. You do take control of course, these tank things, which help you blast through blocks, again. And these things which stretch your necks really high and help you reach high spots. Pretty cool right there, especially if you're in a place called Tall Woods. With the piranha plants, though, I haven't had such luck, only once actually. Kind of tough to explain how to do it, but most of the time the piranha plants just swallow Cappy and, well, basically gives you the easy advantage to jump on them, because most of the time they spit these poison stuff, which Cappy can get through much easier. But trust me, you don't want to touch this stuff because it'll drain your health. And the main look in this stage is the Explorer's outfit. Anyway, you have of course a rabbit boss, which is, again, a male one. And this one spits poison out around you. Basically, you just have to avoid it and jump on him. 3 times. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Until you get further on in this stage and you come across another boss fight, which is a UFO looking thing. Yep. Basically use Cappy to get the pumpkin neck stretching thing, take out the parts of the ship, and basically go underneath into the center, crack the glass 3 times to be exact, also dodge the laser beams. Gets tougher and tougher every time, but it's not too hard. So, back into the Odyssey we go once again, but before you get to the next world, oh, a familiar face makes an appearance. Yep, you fight Bowser the first time. Pretty easy for the most part because you take control of his hat that you remember seeing at the beginning that he throws at you, and it's a pair of boxing gloves. Yeah, basically you have to dodge all his fiery moves and come across him, hit him, but watch out, if he doesn't fall down you have to watch his tail that he doesn't whack you with it, otherwise you'll lose a piece of health there. But otherwise, yep, you do this 3 times, he goes down, and he's defeated for now, but oh, he knocks you into the Lost Kingdom. Don't know why exactly, but the music sort of reminds me of something out of Little Mermaid. And this kingdom, you take control of these things with the long necks that don't stretch up, instead stretch long ways to help you get across these wide gaps, because, yeah, you don't obviously want to go into this stuff. It's obviously deadly to the touch. What else do you expect there? And you can even take control of this bird thing, which can be a little tricky to control with the gliding. Gotta make sure you don't go off the map like I did. Stupid me right there. Yes, plenty of power moons to collect in this stage, because they are required to repair your Odyssey after that shithead Bowser damaged it on you by knocking you in here. There's no boss fights in this level, of course. Well, unless you can count that piece of shit bird that steals Cappy on you and you have to go rescue him by, well, doing the stomp move in a very specific place. Also, I really didn't feel much need to collect these purple coins because, well, there's really no required outfit in this level that I can find to get past the locked door. Because, well, I never found any. So, anyway, get back in the Odyssey and you're on your way. The big city. And yes, I have to admit, when I first heard about this idea of Mario going into the city with real-life looking people, even though they're obviously animated, I thought to myself, what? Seriously, Nintendo? Are you really going to go in this direction? Are you really trying to make this like the Sonic 06 of Mario games? This sounded like a bad idea at first, but thankfully I worried for nothing, because it stuck true to what still made Mario what it is. I mean, yeah, Sonic 06 was terrible for so many other reasons. Glitches, unplayability, bad camera angles, frequent long load screens. This game, thankfully in this level, worry for nothing, it still makes Mario, Mario. I mean, yes, you interact with real people and everything like that, but before you get to that part, of course,